is up, Cornhole Nation? This is episode 2 of the Fill Room. ACL analyst Trey Ryder here to bring you some in-depth analysis of the ACL Kickoff Battle Pro Doubles Finals. This was a great one to kick off the 2019 Johnsonville Cornhole Championships. We had ACL pros Derek King and Jordan Kamba taking on ACL pros Matthew Sorrells and Emery Parker. It really was a great game and some interesting nuances that I want to explore. So without further ado, let's jump into this game and take a look and see how ACL pros Jordan Kamba and Derek King were able to take home the first pro doubles tournament of the season. All right, we're going to jump in. Actually, the first round of the game has got some things to look at. It's a good one to start the game. We got Jordan Kamba throwing against Matthew Sorrells, and where the interest really starts is with this bag right here by Jordan Kamba. Now, this one is interesting because it is a block. Jordan Kamba and Derek King choosing to throw some slide right bags now. As many of you know, those slide right bags, that sticky side with a broken in bag over the course of the day will start to stick up a little bit. So these are pretty tacky bags. On the other end, you have Sorrells and Parker throwing the game changers. Those are pretty slick bags, especially that slick side. It will take off if you don't put a little bit of touch on it. The reason I want to look at this first throw in particular is because right off the bat, Matthew Sorrells has a decision to make. He's going to go back and forth in his head. You're going to see for a second here. Does he want to go for the traditional airmail, or does he want to try a slide around shot? I mentioned in episode 1 introducing the term staying tight to the bag. Sorrells throwing a bag that stays down the center and does not drag that bag sitting in front of it. Now, if you stay with that tight bag, it is a safer shot, but what you may end up happening is bringing this green bag closer to the center of the hole, making it easier for Jordan Kamba to push in himself. Because Sorrells is so aggressive and he is so confident in his airmail, you'll see here he actually hits the airmail. He's going to shoot the airmail shot, and he's actually going to hit it. Very aggressive. Something that I wouldn't recommend to a social or competitive player, but if you're feeling that airmail as a top-level player, you throw it. That causes Jordan Kamba to attempt a slide shot to do what Sorrells avoided in the first place. He was attempting to bring that green bag closer, but in the end he had the bag actually skip off to the back side of the hole. So because Sorrells went with the aggressive airmail, it paid off. For the rest of the round, we'll see that Sorrells gets to enjoy the fruits of his labor. He's going to go for a slide around, but he ends up bringing a bag in with him. Jordan Kamba is going to go for an airmail, not able to drag, and Sorrells will start the game with 4 points. A great start to the game. All right, we're going to take a look at a round here a little bit later. It is 9-2, 9-2. So pay attention to that score because it is going to play a role in this round. Sorrells and Parker go up big early. Emery Parker is going to block, and then Derek King is going to do what I call a double block. He's going to block right behind that one. That's going to leave him with a decision to make. He's really got 3 options here. He can go with a straight up airmail with an attempt to drag the bag. He can go with a block, a triple block if you will, or he can go for a hard push up the center. Now for me, I think there is a pretty obvious best case scenario here, but let's look at all 3. Scenario number 1 is shooting the airmail. In that case, I see so many competitive players and advanced players looking to make that transition to the elite and the pro level that they'll shoot that airmail and try to drag that bag in, thinking that would be absolute best case scenario. Well, even if you do succeed in that shot, you leave your opponent with a relatively simple push shot to make both of their bags. It doesn't give you an advantage really to hit that airmail. On the flip side, let's look at option 3, pushing all 3 bags in. Well, in general, that is going to be a very difficult shot to make, especially with this green bag being on the sticky side. It is more than likely that your bag, if you were to try a push, would go straight and kick right or kick left. It is going to be so hard to execute that shot. You would have to hit it perfectly. So that leaves me with what I think is the best shot in this case. That is laying up in front of this green bag. What that does is it prevents your opponent from making a simple slide shot. And if your opponent expects to score in the round, they are going to have to hit an airmail. But even if they hit an airmail, they are more than likely going to be dragging this bag sitting in front as well, putting you in the position to score the most and taking the least risk. The only problem is if you throw a block, you better hit it. Unfortunately, Emery Parker does not hit the block, allowing Derek King to hit an easy push. He follows it up with 2 straight bags, not missing the hole. And like I said, pay attention to that score. What was a 9-2 game becomes a 9-8 game just like that in one round. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Take a look at around here. Scores 14-9. Derek King and Jordan Kamba up. Now that first bag by Derek is just a signature Derek King shot. It's that block. And one thing I want to highlight is the space in between the hole and the bag. If that space was not there and that bag was closer to the hole, I don't think Emery would be thinking about this as much as he does. He takes a little bit longer than usual to think about this shot, and I think that's why it ultimately makes him miss to the left here. He thinks about it too much. The reason he's thinking about it is because he's trying to figure out what's his best move. Now, Derek King, previous in the game, has shown he's been able to push bags into the hole. And normally what I think Emery would do is shoot the airmail because his airmail is deadly. But because Derek has been so consistent with that push shot, it makes him second guess. It makes him think about, hey, actually probably the better shot will be to lay up behind it and then go and make this an airmail game directly against Derek instead of letting Derek shoot a shot that he's normally good at. Now, I actually do think the airmail would have been the better shot here, again, because of this gap in between the hole and the bag. I call that a short block. A shorter block actually would probably be here, but essentially is behaving like a short block. And for Emery, when he goes for this double block up behind it, he's going to miss left. And it goes to show you that if a player can consistently hit a push earlier in the game, it can start to mess with the strategy of a slicker side player later in the game. We'll take a look here. Emery's going to think about this and think about this. He's a little bit uneasy. He ends up just completely missing the block whatsoever. And then Derek able to somewhat clean it up. But it goes to show you, if Derek had made that shot after an airmail by Emery, then Emery would be sitting pretty in this round. He would be up 2, and he would be the one in position to score. Get through the round, and then this is another key shot by Emery. He's going to slide this bag up, and it's going to sit in the hole right there. That leaves Derek with an option. He's going to try to slide around it, as you're going to see here, but it's not going to work completely. He's going to end up sitting in front. And this is another decision time by Emery and Matthew, and you're going to hear them talk. You're not going to hear it, but they're going to be talking to each other about what to do here. Originally, what Matthew Sorrell's pitches to Emery Parker is, I want you to throw it soft and just kind of nudge that green bag and hope yours will fall. The reason I don't like that strategy is because not only do you have to control how left and how right you want the bag to go, but now you have to control its speed exactly. If you throw it too far, it ends up in the hole. If you throw it too soft, it ends up short and doesn't nudge your bag in. I think the safer shot is honestly to shoot an airmail. Even if you completely miss, you'll give up 3, which is only 1 more point than if you had just boarded it. So it's really not that much of a loss. But if you make it, you have an opportunity to score 2 if the green bag doesn't fall. And worst case scenario, if you make it, is you take that green bag as well for a wash, and that's exactly what happens. So it's a good bag by Emery, and I think a good decision even after a shaky start to the round. All right, this is another round later in the game that I absolutely love. 14-11, and Emery is going to start with a block, and Derek is going to follow it up with a double block. Now, if you remember, I just saw this exact same situation a couple rounds ago, and I broke it down that in this situation it was a little bit different because Derek's King's bag was closer to the hole and Emery's was behind that one. But Emery Parker was faced with this same situation. If you remember, I said that he made the right decision to block behind it and then wait to make an airmail until later in the round. All he did was he just missed the block. It ended up over here instead of dead center where he wanted it to be. Now, that goes to show you if you make that decision earlier and you don't execute it properly, it makes you second guess yourself. What's going to happen here is Emery is going to end up going for the airmail, but he's going to miss it. So he's already put himself possibly 3 points behind. You can see he's thinking about it. I did it one time. I didn't do it correctly. So this time, I think he makes the wrong decision. In the first round, he made the right decision. He just didn't execute it properly. Derek King follows up with an airmail, forcing Emery to shoot an airmail now. And he misses that one to knock it in, which leaves Derek King, the push specialist, an opportunity to push his bag. Now, thankfully for Emery Parker, Derek King misses this push on the first one, leaving Emery an opportunity for an airmail, which he will take and he will hit to at least salvage some points. But he's going to end up giving up 4 points in the round because Derek King, you give him 2 opportunities to push, and he's going to hit it every time. The moral of the story here is if Emery Parker blocks up behind that bag, then it becomes an airmail show. And with Emery showing in the previous game and showing in other games that his airmails were on point, I think that would have been the better round to go toe-to-toe with Derek King on airmails rather than give Derek King the opportunity to push a bag in. All right, we're going to jump a little bit forward here. 18-15 is now our score. Kemba and King only 3 points away, so that's important to keep in mind here as we look at this round. Emery Parker is going to start with a bag a little bit off to the right, really in no man's land. Derek King is going to do what we call a bully bag. He's going to push that out of the way so it can't be drug in the hole anymore. And he's going to sit in front with a block. That's going to leave Emery Parker and allow him to do what he does best, and that's throw an airmail straight into the hole, which is what he's going to see here. He's going to make Derek hit that push shot, which is what he's been doing all day long. Emery Parker says, I hit my airmail. I expect you to hit your push. But the interesting thing here with Derek is he's going to actually lay up behind it. Maybe it looks like he went for a push, but it just came a little bit short. What you're going to see now is an exchange between Emery Parker and Matthew Sorrells. And really there becomes a decision of what to do with this next bag. You can try to push them all in. You can try to airmail over the top. What they'll eventually come to is a decision to block the hole. You see that X right there is where they're going to lay it. And the reason they're going to do that is because Derek King in this game has shown time and time again that he can push, and he can push the bag so well. So what Emery is going to do is he's going to try to prevent Derek King from doing that. Now, I know how this round ends, so I'm completely unfair using this assessment, but really the perfect shot in this situation, knowing the outcome, would actually be a bag that is thrown on the slick or thrown on the sticky side, comes up here and kind of sits in between those bags and maybe flops over and lands kind of halfway flopped over and sitting on those bags. Now the reason I say that is because now if you execute that type of shot, Derek all of a sudden no longer has a push because the bags would bunch. And if he tries an airmail shot, this green bag will not fall in with it. It will not get drug into the hole. Now, what we'll see Emery actually do is lay up in front of Derek's bags. The reason that he does that, like I said, he just doesn't want Derek to be able to push bags in. He said, Derek, if you're going to win, you're going to have to do it airmailing, something that you haven't had to do a lot of in this game. Fortunately for Emery, he misses the first one. Now, Emery has got another decision to make. Do I shoot the airmail or do I lay up? If I lay up, I all but guarantee myself points, right? That's what he's thinking. Little does he know what Derek King is about to do with a ridiculous shot on this next throw, but that's the decision Emery is making. If I were in Emery's shoes, I would have absolutely laid up here. I would have put the bag right there, make Derek King hit an airmail, and you know what? Even if he airmails it, I'm still coming out a point ahead. I'm sitting pretty. I'm in the best possible situation that I can be. Well, I told you earlier, sometimes there's no defense for a perfect shot. And that's what we're going to see coming up here with Derek King. First is shot by Emery. He's going to go for an airmail and miss, leaving the door open for a wash by Derek King. That's what you think, right? No. Derek King's going to hit the shot of the day. He's going to somehow pull the bag sitting underneath the other one and drag it into the hole. An absolutely ridiculous shot. Derek King gives them 2 points and puts them 1 point away with the shot of the day. Absolutely incredible shot. You can see the expression there by, we'll replay that. Yeah, you see that expression by Jordan Kamba. He loves it. Like I said, you can do everything right. Emery Parker makes the right decision. Maybe you don't go for the airmail there, but it doesn't matter. It's an incredible shot by Derek King. We'll jump to the last round of the game. Kamba and King only 1 point away, but Sorrells and Parker are also 2 points away. And really, this is just going to come down to the execution of what Derek King has been doing all day long, and that's pushing. And I really think the moral of this game is do what you do best. If you are an airmailer, set yourself up for airmailing. If you are a pusher, set yourself up for pushing. The reason these two teams were in the finals is because players like Derek King set themselves up to push bags in by blocking, and Emery Parker set himself up for airmails by blocking, but they did it in different ways. And so that's what you need to do if you're a player. If you're a social competitive player coming up through the ranks, you want to know how to become that elite level. If you're good at throwing bags in the hole, then don't bother blocking the hole. But if you like to push, you like to airmail, set yourself up for success and do what puts you in the position to win. That's all the time I got for this episode of the Film Room. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let us know who you would like to break down next. Let us know if you've seen a game recently that you want broken down. Drop us in the comments, and we'll be sure to take a look at them. For the American Cornhole League, this is Trey Ryder. See you guys next time.